Good evening. We'll open the ID first. Yesterday we have seen the macro. Hmm? So let's start. Enough. That is enough. That is the programming life cycle we have discussed almost for 2 days. So you can say almost for 2 hours. These are various system softwares: the editor, preprocessor, assembler, compiler, linker, loader. All these system softwares one work one after another. Okay, till you get the output. Okay, so macro was one of the thing, and we discussed this yesterday. Parameterized macro I'm going to show you, but not in this chapter. Intentionally I'm going to skip it, but after a certain time. Okay, maybe once I finish the function chapter I will again come back to the preprocessor directive, that is a macro. Okay, parameterized macro. Okay, at that time, because you will come to know importance of that. File inclusion we will see right now. Okay. And theoretical aspect, part of that I have explained you already. Right? File inclusion. Right. So there are two ways to include files in the C program. One is inclusion of library file, that we have already done that. Right? Inclusion of library file. And second is inclusion of user defined file. Right? When you use the library file, we use a symbol. The symbol is than and greater than. Right? And in case of user defined files, we use the pair of double quotes. Right? What is the meaning of this? Hmm? The preprocessor searches file, okay, in the current directory as well as specified list of directories. Specified list of directories is available in the compiler setting, right? So when you include that stdout.h in the compiler setting, the stdout.h path is there. Okay, so because when you install the code blocker, when you install any IDE, when you install any compiler, that path is set automatically, so that preprocessor will go at that path at that location and it will include that. Okay, so that is a specified list of directories. This and searches file in the current directory as well. Current directory is the program or project you have created. That is a current directory. Right? As well as double quote is concerned, Okay, the preprocessor will search the file in current directory. A conditional compilation I'm going to take afterward, because right now you cannot do that. Multiple file project afterwards, pragma afterwards, right? So macro was one of the important, and final inclusion of that library files that I have explained you in detail, right? This we have seen macro versus function, that afterwards, because I told you that I can teach you parameterized macro only when I finish the function chapter, right? Use of macro, that is very important. Use of macro is for better understanding. So when you write pi, okay, for example, yesterday, that instead of reading that formula 3.14 this that, we are used to the formula since our childhood. Okay, so pi r square. So you write directly pi over there, right? So what is important is why to use the macro, better understanding, that is very important. Okay. So macros, various macros are there, we will be using those macros. Okay. That is the reason I taught you this chapter right now. Okay. So that instead of learning this topic at the end of the syllabus, and then we won't get opportunity, we won't get time to use them. So instead, why not? I thought, why not learn? I teach this at the beginning of this curriculum, so that for rest of the chapters we will use macros. Okay, that is the basic intention. Okay, so macros are useful for better understanding. Then avoiding inadvertent changes. That is very important. Inadvertent changes can be avoided. Why? Because yesterday when I wrote that program, when you wrote that program, multiple time there was 3.14 and all these things. Okay, so when you are in coding mood, okay, we are completely engrossed in writing the code. There are fair chances that programmer makes mistakes. Okay, so there is no guarantee that 3.14 you will write everywhere. Okay, so instead of that, just write it once and uh, write it once and forget that. Use the macro everywhere. Okay. C++ has got the better alternative for that. Okay, I will show you right now. C++ programming language came along with a better alternative. Okay, there is a difference after all. So I will come to that. I will show you the small program. And third use of macro is efficient code and faster execution. Definitely efficient code and faster execution, because but this feature has got connection along with the um, parameterized micro. So probably this you may not understand right now. Okay, at that time I will explain in detail. Right? Okay, fine. While inclusion, this little bit I have taught you, but when I teach you that multiple file program, at that time I will explain you in detail, because we are going to learn that. Hmm? If we have conditional compilation, I will teach you that. Hmm? Macro, okay, I can multiple file project afterwards, pragma afterwards, right? Okay. So macro 03, I'll give you name as macro 03, right? C C++ came along with a better alternative. Okay. So they suggest that, first of all, many students ask me, why not use the variable? Okay. So suppose there is a int r, right? And I will not write full program. Okay. I will just try to explain the concept. So float area, right? Suppose r is fixed by you. So area, suppose area of a circle. So 3.14 into R, right? Printf area percent 5.2 f slash n area. All program. So if I run this code, nothing wrong in this. So it will be the area as a 78.50, right? Should I run it again? It will print the area as 78.50. Now, as far as macro is concerned, we wrote program like hash define pi as 3.40, right? So wherever it finds pi, the processor will substitute 3.14 wherever it finds capital Pi. Okay, as it is. It is the literal replacement, as it is. I will show you all. So that works, right? Whether small works, yes, it works because that is just the convention, right? Doesn't have any problem. Now, many students say that why not go for the preprocessor directive instead? Why not declare a variable like this int, suppose float pi. I'm explaining you the intricacies, how to think while learning any concept. Okay, basically it is your job. Okay, when I teach something, you need to think on that. Okay, I'm just giving a hint how you should think once I conduct any session. How you should think on that. Okay? That is very important for me. That is learning C language. It is not just I teach you something, you write programs. I teach you something, you write program. That is not learning C. That you can get anywhere. If you read the book, you will get the same thing. You watch videos on the YouTube, free videos, you get the same thing. Learn from the college, you get the same thing. Okay, but I wish you start thinking on that. Okay, example, hint I'm giving so that today onwards at least, whatever I teach you, you think on that. That is very important because human have been given brain to think, not to only act. Okay, so if I suppose pi is equal to 3.4, what is wrong in this? There is nothing wrong in this. Okay? If I comment this will work fantastically, right? Because float pi is 3.14, right? So what is the difference between this macro and this, right? You should actually think on that, or probably you might have thought differently. There are uh, two weaknesses or two drawbacks, you can say. One drawback is that this pi, probably when C++ designer tried to find the alternative to macro, probably they thought like this, why, okay? And they came out along with the solution. So this is perfectly valid. There is nothing wrong in this, right? Now, first of all, the point number one, this is not replacement, right? This pi is not going to be replaced by 3.4. So this is not going to be a preprocessor task. This will be handled by the compiler, right? Because preprocessor has got nothing to do along with value of the pi and put there. Okay, this is a compiler's job, right? No question of preprocessing. Point number two, whenever a variable is there, there is overload. In the last slide, in the macro uses of macro, there was a third point. Okay, half of that information I'm giving you right now. There was a efficient code, right? Word efficient. Okay, part of that efficiency I'm telling you right now. Whenever pi variable is there, it is allocated a 4 bytes of memory because pi is a variable, whereas macro is not a variable. Pi is a variable, so variable has got memory. Okay, 4 bytes of memory is there. So whenever this statement is going to be executed, that value inside the memory of a pi variable, it has to be retrieved. It has to be collected. So additional no additional efforts are there. Additional time is there. Okay? That doesn't happen in case of macro because macro is a preprocessed directive. So when code goes for compilation, it is sent as 3.14 into R into R. That's it. Okay, ready-made code is sent. Whereas in case of variable, ready-made code is not sent. Code is sent as pi into R into R. So when this expression is to be solved, okay, it has to collect value from the variable pi. So that will be 3.14. It's stored inside the CPU. It has to collect the contents of R. So contents of R will be retrieved and put inside the CPU, and then it will solve that expression and value will be returned by the CPU. This is how the expression is solved, right? And third major important point is that suppose so there is a float. This variable is there, perimeter, right? Huh? And you have already 2 into 3.14 into R, right? I'm taking a small program because small programs help you to understand concepts, right? Perimeter. And here, if I run this code, nothing wrong, very good, excellent. Suppose I put this and comment this. So this is excellent. Okay. So it doesn't make any difference whether you use the pi or whether you use the variable. Okay. Prima facie, there is no difference at all. But first difference I told you that macro is a preprocessor directive, and if when you declare a variable, it is not a preprocessor directive. It is handled by the compiler. Second thing is that there is no memory kind of thing. No memory is given for the macro. Macro is just literal replacement. Whereas in case here, additional overheads are there, additional efforts are there, additional time is there. Okay, so efficiency is reduced. And third major one more thing is that when you use the variable, okay, you should be able to explain this kind of thing. When you use this kind of variable, there are fair chances, not why fair chances. If I write here by mistake, suppose, or intentionally I write, right? Is it the error? Is it error? Nothing wrong with here, but this output is wrong. This output is wrong. Why? Because here value of pi is 4.25. There are fair chances that when you write the program, some value of variable is going to be changed. Okay, it is quite often. Okay, quite often. When you write a large program, you don't know where value of any variable is getting changed in the program by mistake. Okay, so here value, and you cannot You cannot notice this, you cannot avoid this, nothing, you cannot do anything. Okay. But as far as macro is concerned, this is not possible. Right? Macro is concerned, this is not possible. Why? I will show you again. Right? This statement will give you an error. But this statement gives you an error because this pi is equal to 4.25. The statement itself is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because macro is a literal replacement. Okay, so this expression, okay, when the program is sent for the compilation, this statement will be expanded as 3.14 is equal to 4.25. So what compiler will do along with this? Will compiler understand this? Okay, nothing. Compiler will throw an error. We will say, what the hell you have written? 4.25 is assigned to 3.14, right? So this is the use of macro, right? So macro will trap those. Okay, it won't allow you. It won't allow you. Once you define the macro, okay, there is no chance that value of pi will be changed throughout the program. Next is C++ developers. They don't want, no, they didn't want macro. Okay, for a few reasons. Okay, doesn't mean that they have removed that. Macro is still there in the C++. So C++ came along with a novel solution. Okay, what they did, okay, they suggested you to use the variable, right? Like this. They suggested you to use the variable, but attach the keyword const modifier, const, right? Const float pi or pi. This is a, it works in C, but the idea was from C++. Okay? I don't know whether this program is executable in C or not. I'm just, I thought of teaching you some part of C++. That's why I wrote this code. Okay? Honestly, I do not know whether it has got backward compatibility. Yes, it has got backward compatibility, right? Basically, the concept is suggested and no invented by the C++ developer, but C++ and C are cousin. Okay, they have got very good relation. Their developers have got good relation. They are not competent. I mean, they are not competent of each other. Okay, so this works fantastically, right? Now, what is the benefit? Benefit is that uh, here they removed that weakness of changing the value of pi inadvertently in the program. Okay, so by mistake, suppose the value of pi is changed here. Okay, suppose instead of 3.14, huh? So suppose 3.41. So it doesn't allow you. Okay, since this pi has been made as a const, okay, it won't allow you to. It will make mistake, and it will see the message. Okay, what is that? Assignment of read-only variable. Okay, where you heard this word read-only. Okay, unfortunately, this is not explained, but read-only you heard only when you were taught. Perhaps you were taught about the ROM. ROM is read-only memory. Basically, this is the read-only memory. Okay, you can read only. You cannot write. You cannot change that. Okay, so this is a kind of no. This is a beauty of C++, right? Which is not unfortunately taught. Okay? So this won't allow you const. Okay, so this is, there are number of uses of const. Okay, I will teach you later on in the curriculum when I teach you string chapter or function chapter. Okay, const is rarely used while teaching C language or C++. Const is one of the wonderful and necessary modifier. Suppose I declare a variable as float. x, right? 3.14. Okay, and if I read percent f slash n x. I compile this program and execute. Okay, it will print f is equal to 3.140000. Okay, nothing wrong in this. If I suppose double y is equal to suppose 3.40. If I suppose int num is equal to 56 and if I write suppose float p is equal to 3.10.8 1.58. Okay, 1.58. This is how you can is equal to percent d slash n and e is equal to percent f slash n e and f is equal to percent lf. I think lf is the for the double. So if I run this code, what happened? Yeah, error 0, warning 0, right? So here you get that, right? X is equal to 3.14. Okay, observe carefully. What is that x? X is a float value. So there is no problem. Listen carefully, everything what I'm, because no, I'm going to give you a lot of information. X is equal to, X is a float variable. 3.414 is stored in that using printf statement and percent %f format specifier. We are printing the contents of X. So this is correct. Okay. As far as num is concerned, num is an integer, 56 we have stored. So that is nothing wrong in this. Okay. As far as p is concerned, p has got, p is a float, right? And I have stored 1.58, nothing wrong in this. Why? Why is it double? It is 3.14. So first question is, what is the difference between this y and this x? You will say nothing. So if one is double, another is float, then some difference must be there for sure, right? So let's go inside the machine. Okay, how does it work? Before that, let me declare this variable as an int. And I'll print this using the %d. Let's check what happens. I'll build that program. Is there any error? No. No error is there. No warning is there. Right? So let's. What happened? What happened? X 3.14, no problem here. Okay. Num 56, no problem here. Why 3.14? No problem is here. I mean, still I have not yet explained, so no problem. Okay, for you. Okay, for me, problem is there between printing y and printing x, but that I will come to that. Now, at least definitely problem is here. Why? Because p is integer and you are trying to store 1.58, right? P is an integer variable, so it has got 4 bytes, and 1.58 is a real number. So you are trying to store a real number inside the integer container. Okay, it is like no, you are trying to store something which is in the container which is not made up for that. That is very important. That is very important. Hmm? So what compiler will do? Okay, after all, you have made the mistake. So compiler mm, may make some changes and will go ahead. Okay? Some compilers may issue a warning, right? I mean, anything can happen. Once you have made the mistake, anything can happen. So as far as this compiler is concerned, what did he actually does? He truncated the real portion of that whatever afterwards that decimal point, it truncated that, and it stores one inside the integer variable, right? So you got the output as one. Hmm? Fine. So lesson number one for you. Okay, when you store any constant inside a variable, make sure that data type of value on the right hand side matches along with the data type of a variable on the left hand side. That must match. That is very important. Hmm? If suppose you fail to do that, it will do what? It will truncate and it will go ahead. Likewise, when you wrote the program of that some Fahrenheit temperature conversion, right? So you write 5 by 9 or 9 by 5. Okay. So when you write 9, when you wrote actually 9 by 5, 9 divided by 5 was integer. So you got the answer as 1. When you, if you write that 5 divided by 9, then 5 divided by 9 is 0. You will get 0. Okay. So this is how the machine works. Okay. Similarly, in case of a float and double, floating point number and that is a real number. Real number, there are two data types. One is a float, another is the double. But you should know that, you should understand that default nature, default nature of real constant is double, not float. Default nature of double real constant, default nature of real constant is not float. Default nature is double. Like I say no, 5. So what is the default value, default sign of 5? That is plus. Okay, we do not say plus 5 always, right? We say 5. That's it. Why? Because we know that default is plus. Similarly, machine has been taught that whenever real constant is there, it is double. Now look at this sentence. Look at this sentence and look at this sentence. Okay. This sentence is correct because 3.14 is a real number. It is a double. And on the left hand side, there is a y variable which is also double. So this is the right statement. Nothing wrong in this. Problem is here. Why? Because 3.14 is a real number and machine has been taught that real number is a double. Okay. And on the left hand side, there is a variable which is float. Now, look at the other one more point. Double takes 8 bytes of memory and float takes 4 bytes of memory. Okay. As far as I'm telling you general things, okay. I mean, in general. Okay, after all, memory is machine dependent, compiler dependent, right? But in general, almost for all IDEs, float takes 4 bytes of memory and double takes 8 bytes of memory, right? So obviously, if 3.14 to the machine, it has been taught that real constant is a double, that 3.14 needs 8 bytes of memory. And here on the left hand side, this x is a variable which has got 4 bytes of memory. So it is like there is an atom which has got capacity of 3 people who are trying to push, okay, 6 people inside that, right? What will happen? That auto cannot accommodate more than 3. Okay, so 3 will be thrown out. Definitely, when 3.14 is stored inside X, okay, no, by God's sake, it is not thrown out, but it is crunched. 3.14, which is a double, it is crunched inside the floating point value. So to avoid this, okay, good programming practice is to whenever you declare a variable, float a variable, good programming practice is, because you are helping the compiler, you're helping the compiler, you're telling the compiler that 3.14, don't consider 3.14 as a double, but consider it as a float. So write the f over there. So you're helping the compiler, don't consider 3.14 as a double, but f. So 3.14 temporarily is also stored inside 4 bytes of memory, and contents of 4 bytes can easily be stored in 4 bytes of memory of a variable x. Got that? So that is the reason we write, or we should write, f over there. I hope this much explanation is enough for you.